Now, when we look at the main app, we also see that we have this nice rating bar where users are able to then select, as you can see here. If the book is really bad, we can just give it 1 or nothing and go like this. So this is really nice, and this is what we need to implement. Luckily, we don't have to write the entire code that does this. We could, but why waste our time if we could always find a plugin? Let's go to Flutter package there. There is this package, place pub.dev, where we can find all the different packages. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using, called Flutter Rating Bar. And you can learn more about what it does. The creator has this little animation there, a little GIF, so we can see how it works. Even though this is a mobile app that they're showing, but you see here it also can work on Windows, web, macOS, Linux, iOS, Android, and so forth. So this is a good thing, and this is what we're going to be using. And of course, as always, we can come down here and read more about how to use it, different ways to use it, and I'll leave to you on how you want to implement this, because the documentation is here and you can play around. But this is what we're going to be using. This is the third way, as the documentation says here. Well, first we need to go back to our code and invoke the assist, the pub assist. If you don't see it at the top, you can just type pub assist, spec assist, hit enter, and once that is, we can then type there what we're looking for. So we're looking for the, I think it's rating bar. Click enter. Nope, that's not what we wanted. Okay, and what we want to find is the Flutter rating bar. So we say Flutter rating bar, hit enter, and voila, it's now getting the Flutter rating bar version 4, just to make sure we're getting the right one. Yes, and there it is. Okay, so it's all done there, and sometimes you probably need to stop what's running and rerun again. Let's just do that for good measure. Stop, terminate the debug session altogether. And sometimes you have to go back to main. It may not be the case for you when you're watching this video, but sometimes you have to go back to main in order for you to be able to see this run button. So in this case here, I'm just going to go ahead and run the whole app. Let's re-log in. Looks like I have the wrong password. Let's start again. There we go. We re-logged in. Let's click here, and everything is great. So the rating, let's go back to our main app. The rating is going to be at the bottom. The bar is going to be at the bottom of the mark as read. So right about here. Okay, let's go back to our code. Get everything situated there. Close that one down. I'm going to close this one down as well. And by the way, you see here I've changed the code or the logic here to make sure that we only update if new data was entered. Okay, this is something that I had you to do as an exercise. Here, where we finish that, this is where we are going to add the rating. All you have to do once we have all that installed is just start typing rating, and you can see there it is. We want to use the rating bar, that builder. So it allows us, again, uses the same framework as all other widgets in Flutter. We have the builder we can pass there. So I'm going to just space control, and in this case I'm going to pass an actual function like this, and then we can pass the onRatingUpdate, a method that will allow us to do things. Rating update here I'm going to also put inside of parentheses as such, and I can just pass rating. But that is what it's going to be passed along for us to check or retrieve that value as we update the rating. Save this to have some reformatting going there. All right. Also, the next thing we need to pass here is the initial rating. I can start typing initial rating. It's going to be a double. For now, I'm just going to say 4.5. Okay. And then also another field we need to pass is the item count. Faces, smiley faces or sad faces we need to show. 5, that's what we need to pass. All right, so now inside here, this is where we do all the work. So essentially, in this item builder, this is where, as the name implies, we start building the actual items or the actual bar. So if we go back to our Flutter rating, there is, for instance, the example. If you click there, There's so many examples to follow here, and the one we're using is the case 3, which is this one here. So you can change the direction. We added the item count and all sort of things. Item padding as well. You can do a lot of things. So now we're gonna use this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just copy this, all of this switch statement to make sure I'm getting the right thing. Let's just copy all of this, put it all inside there. All right, so we have a switch statement here, pass the index to count through all of the items. So in case of 0, the first item or the first icon that needs to show is the sentiment very dissatisfied, and you can see in the gutter here, it's the very sad icon. And case 1, we have dissatisfied, and so forth. And in a default case where none of these is met, it's just going to return a container of nothing. So let's run this so we can see that indeed things are showing, because there's nothing worse than trying to look at something that doesn't show. Very good. So you can see even the click event is working. When we click, it is actually working. This is really good. All right, all of that is all done for us. So as we click each one of these, we need to set the state for the actual rating, because we'll need that. Makes sense. Where do we do all that work? Well, we do that work inside of, yes, you guessed it, inside of onRatingUpdate. Right? It makes sense. We're passing the rate as we click or select each one of these. We're passing that rate here. In fact, if I come here and say print the rating that's been passed, we should be able, hopefully, to see something in our console. Okay, let's see. I'm going to click that one. Let's open a new terminal. And you can see there is 2 at the bottom there. If I go to that one, there's 3, 1, 2, 3, and 5. We should see 5. Now, to make sure that we actually are setting the state of this rating, because we will need that when we update and do other things, we're going to pass this set state again, method there, and I'm going to say _rating. This is the rating, the private variable field that we haven't created yet. I'm going to assign that to the rating we are receiving when we look or when we click on each one of these ratings there. Let's go ahead and create this. Let's go ahead and create a field variable, which is going to put at the top there. There we go. So we have Boolean double rating. It says the value of the field rating isn't used because we set it up, but we haven't really used it yet. So that means then we need to go back up down here and pass that rating. However, if we go to the book object, we don't have a rating field. Let's go ahead and add one. Okay, so final. Remember, this is going to be a double type. So I'm going to say double, call this rating, and then it's going to say this dot rating, and we shall do the same thing as well somewhere around here. Let's say rating info rating like this. And let's do the same thing to receive it at some point. Rating, and passing that rating. Go back to our book details. All right, so now we can just pass the rating somewhere here and pass our rating. And while we're here, we can also add another statement here to make sure that we only update if it's necessary. So I'm going to say final user changed rating widget. Rating is not equal to our rating variable. Just going to put here user changed rating, another or there. Okay, just to only update the fields that have changed. And we pass our rating there. And let's see if this works. So let's go back to our book. First, let's make sure that we will run this. Let's click on this one, and I'm going to just pass 4 for that one. Say added a new rating. Now went away. Let's see if that's true. Let's go back to our code, or the backend Cloudflare store and see if we have a rating. And voila, we have a rating of 4. Okay, so that's working. The next thing we need to do is to actually figure out how do we bring that back at some point, reading that back so we can see it. I want you to pull the rating field from the database, which is going to be attached to the book object, right? And pass it here and see what happens. Give it a try, and then we'll figure out together in the next videos.